Buenas noches a todos, ¿cómo están? Muy buenas noches, es un gusto verlos. Excelente, pues yo soy Rory. I've got terrible news for you. Leslie, our boss, our fearless leader, she can't join us tonight. She was feeling underworked as a mom of 3 and business owner, and she decided she's going to coach high school boys volleyball. And so she played volleyball in college, and our son is a senior. And this is her only opportunity to coach our son at something because she's not good at coaching football. And so she decided, I'm going to take this high school volleyball coaching job. And so she said, practice tonight. She said, Rory, you're so great at details. You'll be perfect for this meeting. And I said, oh yeah, okay, good. So anyway, all right, we're going to have fun tonight. We've got a lot to talk about. Thanks for joining us. We're recording it. Some folks can't be here, but we will catch them up with the recording. All right, so first question, find the chat area. Find the chat area. I was doing a little research today, and I came across an article that said, okay, first of all, put a number 1 in there if you have a New Year's resolution. A number 1 if you made a New Year's resolution, a 2 if you didn't. A 1 if you did, a 2 if you didn't. Kathy says no. Oh, lots of no's. Amy's got one in there. Okay, everyone else is a no so far. What is going on? Oh, Megan's got one. Okay, so here's the article I read. The article I read is that most people with their New Year's resolutions make it to the second Friday of January. And then after that, it kind of fizzles. And so the real question is, what New Year's resolution is already slipping? What New Year's resolution is already slipping for you? Okay, Megan, is it already slipping? Let's see. Kelsey, is it already slipping? Everyone else just said, no, I'm not playing this year. Tomar agua is Emily's New Year's resolution versus like beer or wine. Agua is a good choice. See, all right, muy bien, muy bien. Any other New Year's resolutions that are already slipping? I'm in the 2 category. I didn't do one this year, partially because the new year snuck up on me. But anyway, all right, muy bien. Well, let's get started. Vamos a empezar con la reunión. Aquí está nuestro documento. I'm going to share our doc here so that we can talk through some things. So, all right. So last meeting, we introduced ourselves, got to know each other, figured out who's traveling with who, talked about what immersion means, what some obstacles are that we face in our group commitment, how we can get past those obstacles together. We talked about the general schedule, optional excursions, la lista de delincuentes, and próximos pasos. So for tonight, we've got some new folks on the meeting tonight. Not everyone has met each other, so we're going to do presentaciones rápidas. Again, you could do them again in Spanish, English, doesn't matter. We've got a little rompehielo to work on together, and then we're going to get detailed with our volunteer work, host families, questions about travel logistics, travel insurance. We will talk about the ever embarrassing and shameful lista de delincuentes. We'll talk about excursiones and then look at our itinerario también. Okay, so let's get started. Let's just do some basic presentaciones rápido. I'll start. Hola, me llamo Rory, vivo en Colorado. A mí me gusta esquiar, leer en la noche para dormir, and viajar. All right, Stephanie, you're up next. Let's keep it going with another example.
Hola, me llamo Stephanie y yo vivo en Guadalajara, México. Y a mí me gusta leer, nadar y tomar té.
Ah, tomar té. Okay, perfecto. All right, muy bien, gracias. Vanessa, you're up. Vanessa, you weren't here with our last meeting. Everyone meet Vanessa. She's joining the leadership group this year. Okay.
Hi everyone, hola, me llamo Vanessa, yo vivo en Guadalajara también, en México, y a mí me gusta leer, también me gusta viajar, y también es la primera vez que voy a ir a Costa Rica, entonces I'm excited as all of you, I guess. So yeah, nice to meet you, everyone.
Awesome. Muy bien, muy bien. Gracias, Vanessa. Kathy, I'm going to pick on you because you're right next to Vanessa on my image screen here. You're up, Kathy. English, Spanish, doesn't matter. But you're muted.
Oh.
You're muted at the moment, Kathy.
Okay, hola, me llamo Kathy. Yo vivo en Tampa, Florida. A mí me gusta vivir, to travel, vivir.
Oh, viajar,
la-
viajar, viajar.
Viajar, not to live, but viajar in Costa Rica próximo mes.
Muy bien, muy bien. But, you know, living is good too. So me gusta vivir. That's good.
Living
Yeah.
is good,
Okay. All right,
but not with
perfecto.
resolutions. No resolutions.
Okay, está bien, está bien. Nicole, you're up next.
Hola, me llamo Nicole. Yo vivo en Los Ángeles, California. A mí me gusta leer y viajar también. Fui a Wyoming la fin de semana pasada para hacer snowboard. So.
Okay. Muy bien, muy bien. In Jackson? Sí, all right, muy bien. Fantástico. Okay, Isabel, you're up next.
Hi, I'm going to break the tradition. I'm sorry, I'm not prepared for Spanish yet.
No
I need to
problem,
mentally
Isabel.
prepare myself here. My name's Isabel. I'm living in Colorado right now, and I'm really excited to travel as well. I also love all things outdoors, food, everything.
Awesome. Okay, excelente. Gracias, Isabel. Megan. And who's with you, Megan?
Hola, me llamo Megan y me llamo Maddie.
Oh, Maddie.
Nosotros vivimos en Colorado y a mí me gusta mi perro Macy.
All right, Macy, la labrador. Ajá. Muy bien, gracias.
A mí me gusta esquiar y montar mi bicicleta montaña.
All right, excelente. Gracias, amigas. Emily, you're up next.
Hola, me llamo Emily y soy de Colorado también. Y a mí me gusta jugar voleibol y estar afuera en general.
Excelente. Emily, ¿tú eres alta?
No.
No, okay, all right. Está bien, está bien. No hay problema. Okay, Tommy, te toca a ti. Oh, you're on mute, Tommy.
Okay, so hola, me llamo Maria Tommy Williams, also known as Captain Tommy.
Capitan Tommy. Okay.
Captain. ¿Cómo se dice captain?
Capitán.
Capitán Tommy.
Perfecto.
Yo vivo en Washington, D.C. A mí me gusta mi perro, Bruno Mars.
Oh, Bruno Mars.
Y ¿cómo dice boating?
Boating, sí, ir en barco.
En barco. Yo soy capitana. So I boat.
Barco de vela, like a sailboat? Barco de vela?
No, a cruise boat.
Oh, a cruise.
So 72 foot and 42 foot.
You're a cruise
luxury
ship
yacht
captain?
shop.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah!
That's awesome. Muy bien, muy bien. Okay, fantástico. Okay, muy bien. Amy, te toca.
Hola, me llamo Amy. Vivo en Colorado con mi familia y ahora mi familia es en la playa. Fuimos a Argentina este fin de semana y entonces Costa Rica.
Sí. So, están en Argentina ahora mismo.
Sí.
Excelente.
Y me gusta leer y esquiar y muchas cosas.
Muy bien.
Gracias.
Muy bien. Gracias, Amy. Okay, Hua-sung. Hua-sung, can you hear us? We can't really see you.
Okay, so me llamo Wasan, vivo en San Francisco. Yo acabo de terminar mi trabajo ahora. y a mí me gusta muchas cosas como comer, andar, caminar, nadar o ver las ver las televículas, especialmente dramas latinos. What is this? ¿Cómo se llama? I forgot.
Telenovelas.
Yes, telenovelas. Y también me gusta pasar con mis gatos.
Okay. All right. Gracias, Huasam. Gracias.
Gracias.
Excelente. Okay, Maura, te toca a ti.
Hola, me llamo Mora. Vivo en California. Me gusta comer mucho y leer y mi perro. I don't know if you can see.
Sí. ¿Cómo se llama?
Annie.
Se llama Annie. All right. Okay. Muy bien. Gracias, Mora. Gracias. Okay, Karen, you're up.
Hola, me llamo Karen. Yo vivo en Colorado también, con muchas personas aquí. Yo me gusta leer, me gusta caminar en las montañas. ¿Cómo se dice hiking? Caminar en las montañas.
Caminar las montañas, hacer caminatas.
Y no tengo un perro, pero tengo 3 hijos. So, mañana.
Más o menos igual, más o menos igual.
Más o menos. Mañana va a esquiar con mi hijo porque es el cumpleaños de él.
Excelente. Muy bien, muy bien. Okay,
no trabajo
Kate. Oh, perfecto. Kate, you're up.
Okay. Hola, me llamo Kate. Vivo en Oregon, en Hood River, Oregon, and me gusta, caminata, montar mi bicicleta, cocinar, yeah.
Excelente,
kind of thing.
Gracias, Kate, gracias.
Gracias.
Elora, te toca a ti, Elora.
Hola, me llamo Elora. Yo vivo en Albuquerque, Nuevo México, y a mí me gusta leer, escuchar música y correr.
Okay, fantástico. Gracias, Elora. Catherine, you're up. Harvey.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Hola, me llamo Catherine Harvey. Yo vivo en Santa Cruz, California. Me gusta cocinar y caminar en las montañas y leer y bicicleta.
Excelente.
And watching soccer. How do you say watching soccer?
Football. Ver fútbol. Yeah, okay. All right, muy bien.
Ver fútbol.
Gracias, Catherine. Okay, Patrick. Patrick, can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you.
All right, your turn.
I didn't put, sorry again?
Your turn.
Oh, okay.
Introduction.
Hola, me llamo Patrick. Yo vivo en San Francisco. A mí me gusta amateur radio and guitar. Is that good?
That's perfect. Gracias, Patrick.
I can't believe how well everybody's speaking. I'm impressed.
Yeah, it's awesome. And you're in the perfect spot, Patrick. Excelente. Gracias. Okay, Kelsey, you're up.
Hola, lo siento, yo trabajo ahora. Me llamo Kelsey. Vivo en Tampa, Florida. Y a mí me gusta cocinar, ir a la playa, leer y jugar con mis perras, Lily and Daisy.
All right, excelente. Gracias, Kelsey. Y finalmente, Mia, te toca a ti, Mia.
Hola, me llamo Maya.
Oh, Maya, sorry.
No. Yo vivo en Atlanta, Georgia. Me gusta leer y caminar montaña. Lo siento, I was not ready for video, but thank you.
No problem. No problem at all. Perfecto. All right, Maya, excelente. Gracias. Ok, amigos, vamos a continuar aquí. Do you remember the mention in the pre-departure videos about sacar el jugo and what it's going to take for you to really get the most out of this program? So we're going to chat about it really quick in some breakouts. I'm going to send you off, break you up, send you off into some small groups, and I want you to talk about a few things. Primero, ¿qué significa sacar el jugo? What does it mean? And is there any similar English expression you can think of? And ¿cómo vas a sacar el jugo tú? This, it's a little individual and different for every person. What are the things that you think you can do to really sacar el jugo de la experiencia? And then if you had to, because we live in such a hashtag world, what would be the hashtag for you for cómo sacar el jugo? All right, so we've got cuatro preguntas aquí, básicamente. I'm going to drop this document into our chat area so that one of you in your group can pull it up. We'll be in groups of, I don't know, maybe 3 or something like that. We'll see how it goes. And let's see, there we go. Yeah, we're going to be in groups of 3. And so let's talk about sacar el jugo. Here's the doc one more time in the chat area. And all you need to do is click on that and you can pull up the Google document. Okay, so we've got a few groups going. I'm going to send you off into your rooms and we're just going to spend like 5 minutos conversar sobre sacar el jugo, to talk about sacar el jugo, and then we'll come back and see what you have to say and how we can talk about really maximizing your time on the program. Any questions before we go? I've got my eye on the chat and you can just unmute also if you have any questions. If you have no idea, yeah, go for it.
So, yo estoy manejando ahorita, so no puedo hablar, okay?
Okay, all right, Wasang, be safe. Okay, if you have no idea what sacar el jugo means, then dedos cruzados, someone in your group saw the video. Okay, all right, let's do it. I'm going to open the rooms, 5 minutos, and let's talk about sacar el jugo. Muy bien. Oh my goodness, you guys are totally rocking this. We've got the idea of sacar el jugo. I love it. Making the most of any situation to take the juice. And, this image is perfect. It's like you squeeze every last drop out of a given experience or an opportunity, and you don't waste anything. And I think in terms of, as we go throughout our days and weeks on immersion, teachable moments, learning moments, and just capturing all of those all the time. So awesome. That is really the meaning of sacar el jugo. I like it. YOLO, you only live once, sucking the marrow out of life, giving it your best. We've got the spirit of sacar el jugo going perfectly. So, ¿cómo vas a sacar el jugo? Siempre empezar en español. Yeah, this is our commitment as a group, right? That everyone's got different levels of Spanish, but all of us can make the commitment to, I'm always going to be at least starting in Spanish, and little by little we'll realize that more and more Spanish comes. So, ser flexibles a nuevas experiencias. Man, flexibility is just so key to not allowing just unhelpful attitudes interrupt your learning process. So just the position and the perspective of being flexible always sets you up for a lot of success. Try to speak as much Spanish as possible. Awesome. Fight against our introvert tendencies. Yeah. And the more that you can resist against those introvert tendencies, the more you will capture those moments and learning opportunities. Spend time with our host families. Host families are just an amazing cauldron of language exposure and opportunity. And so be brave. You know, it is scary. It is scary to just do regular life in another language and to be around in someone else's home. And there are certain aspects of needing to be brave. That's perfect. Hablar, even if it's uncomfortable, even if I'm tired, even if I'm wiped out, pressing on. And those are things that really help. All right, excelente. These are great. Hashtags, stay focused, habla, no fear, no perfection. Love it. Let go of perfection. I love this idea of not being concerned about making a mistake, because if one thing holds you back with your language growth, it's your self-talk about, you know, I can't do that. I can't say that. I did it wrong. I'm bad at this. So letting go of perfection and focusing more on communication than perfection is one of the most powerful mind shifts you can make as an adult language learner. So awesome. Great work. Any additional comments or interesting conversation someone would like to share from their breakout room? All right, moving on. You put it all down on paper. Fantastico. Okay, so we've made some headway on specifics for our volunteer work that I want to share with you. So here's a snapshot of what we're doing. The very first week in country, we will be putting together some canastas básicas, which are essential staples for some families, low resource families, that we'll be working with throughout weeks 2 and week 3. And then in addition to that, some school supplies as well. So we'll take a look at that. And then week 2, we are giving some workshops to parents and children. And we'll talk about the details here in just a minute. Week 3, remember, week 1 and week 2 are really highly attended. Week 3, our numbers decline a little bit. It's about 9 people in week 3. And we're back at SEDCUS with an elderly population. So let's take a look at the volunteer document and get a sense for what our proyectos are. So week one, we're with SEDCUS and we're doing these canastas básicas. The idea of a canasta básica is it's a couple weeks, 1 to 2 weeks of staples, essentially. So it's basic things like rice and beans and some pastas and some, essential staples. We've got a whole list here of what's in the La Canasta Básica. And each canasta is roughly $40. And so what we'd like to do, there's no obligation that you would sponsor a canasta, but if you'd like to, that would be super helpful. It's something that we will assemble during week 1 and deliver to SEDCUS and the community during our first week. And so if you're around week 1 of the program and you're interested in this, then we would just ask you to go ahead and put your name down here to sign up for a canasta. The same group is also building their bank of like school supplies for kids that come and have no extra resources for basic school supplies, paper, pencils, that kind of stuff. And so there's a list of some school supplies that we're going to be, putting together as well. So week 1 is really more of just a donation sponsor, and we'll get to know the community of SEDCUS a little bit.
Can I just ask a clarifying question?
Yes, Karen.
We would just donate money. We don't have to bring the actual items, correct?
Don't take the items, but it's a little bit more than donating money, Karen. We're actually going to put these together in country. So we'll purchase the stuff there together. And
so I don't pack any of the stuff.
Don't pack anything unless you've got some backpacks laying around that the kids aren't using anymore. The Dora the Explorer backpack that no one wants anymore. That kind of thing. But
I assume it's less expensive to purchase it there versus here.
Yeah, I wouldn't purchase it here. I wouldn't purchase it here and take it. We'll just get it there. It adds it'll add an activity for you to be doing some shopping, and it's money to the local economy. It makes sense to purchase it there versus purchase it here in
And
Tampa.
so how do you sign up?
So just go ahead and put your name right down here. This is all, there's a link in our doc, but I'm going to drop this link into the chat area as well. You can go ahead and put your name in there on the list. Just let us know if you're thinking about it, so we can be planning how many canastas and things like that are we going to be sponsoring as a group.
Hey,
So there's the
Rory?
link. Yes.
I do have a question. The host families, do they also have needs, or are they relatively
That's a good question,
affluent?
Patrick. That's a good question, Patrick. Fewer. They're middle class families. People are. There's not necessarily a donation need for your family. It is a good idea to bring a gift to your family, but no, we don't have to worry about donations. I mean, if you decide,
can you make
that,
suggestions?
yes, for gifts, absolutely, yes. And there's some mention on it in the pre-departure course, but just by way of review, it's simple things that can either represent where you live or something about your life that's a good conversation piece. Could be an activity like a game that you can play with the host family, something to spur conversation with them. Or if there's something in your city or your region that is real typical of your area, like someone up in the Northeast might bring maple syrup or something like that. You know what I mean? And that kind of stuff. And so something that is a conversation piece that represents, who you are, where you live, that kind of thing. Those are great gifts. And if you can't think of anything, bring some nice dish towels for your mama, for your host family, for your host mom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's week one, canastas básicas. And once we get a canasta filled up, you'll realize why we can't just be muddy. We actually need hands and feet to carry these things because they're kind of heavy with rice and beans and all that stuff. Okay. All right. Week two, sedkas. So we've got, we're going to be split up in week two. So we're going to have the medical group working on one project. They have requested some positive discipline techniques for parents in week one, in addition to some basic first aid stuff. So we have two kind of topics in the medical group. And then for the general adult, Amy, your family as well, we're going to be doing some educational games with kids. And so when it comes to the positive discipline strategies, as we were speaking with the director of the Casa de Salud, the House of Health, she was talking about basically, number one discipline strategy often is like yelling and spanking. And so they'd like to be able to teach without making parents feel guilty about anything. They'd like to be able to teach additional, better strategies and for disciplining and being positive with their children. So things that she mentioned on our call earlier this week: how to talk about expectations, how to give positive reinforcement, ways to help parent calm down before they begin disciplining, understanding behavior in the context of stages of development. What's age appropriate behavior, what's normal, what's not. Is this kid doing this because that's just where their brain's at currently? Setting limits, establishing consequences. And, if there's a way to put this into practice with some skits or role playing, like how would you respond to this kind of situation? So it's not super medical, but I know that in at least, community health settings, we're talking a lot about with giving anticipatory guidance and things like that around parenting. So that's one topic. We've got as much flexibility as we want to work these topics. And it doesn't have to be, it's certainly not university level type a discussion. She wants it to be very basic, very practical, very actionable. And, imagine it's the first time someone's hearing this, because it could be. basic first aid stuff in response to cuts, seizures, head injuries. Those are some specific situations that they mentioned on our call. So thinking of a basic framework, what to do at home when something happens, warning signs to look for, and how to know if you need clinical help or not. Okay. And then while the parents are in a workshop with the medical group, the general folks and Amy and your family, you'll be with their children and some other children from the community and doing educational games and working with those kids. And so one real practical question is, do you have a hobby or something that you like to do that you can teach the kids? Some things people have done in the past are things like yoga, basic self-defense, math games, science experiments, making Play-Doh, arts and crafts. And the way this will work for the kids is that there'll be a handful of stations that we set up, and kids will be rotating through the stations. We won't do a station thing for the medical group and talking about those discipline topics. Those will all be consecutive, one after the next, so that everyone's together and walking through the different topics. So we've got. Yes, Mary.
So I'm sorry.
Capitan. Yes, Capitan.
Capitan Tommy. The age group of the children?
Yeah, so.
Los niños.
Yep. Yeah, Los Niños will range. The ages will range, mostly elementary school ages for these kids. The way this works in Costa Rica is that school will be back in session, but on any given day, a kid is either going to have the morning session off or the afternoon session off. And so the kids who have the morning session off, they don't have anywhere to be. And so they'll be here with us. It's likely that you could do the exact same activity for both days because it'll be a different group of kids. Okay. All right. So, so action steps here are to think through the topics, and you know what? These topics and these little descriptions could be right on target. They could be something that you want to massage or change or make a little different. We've got, like I said, total flexibility. I just put a few sort of initial brainstorm ideas down here. Let us know what sort of topic interests you. I think we've got about 15 medical people during that week number 2. So a couple of groups will just have 2 people in them. But we want to try to touch on all of these topics if we can. Okay. And so same goes here for the general adult group and Amy and your family. Go ahead and just, put your name down and talk about, your name and your contact info and an idea of what kind of activity you might be thinking would be fun to do with some elementary aged kids. Okay. So there are a couple of examples here. But what is a good idea is to put your name and your contact info there so that, we can form groups of 2 people to run a station so you're not by yourself, that kind of thing. Okay. So, all right. So that's week 2. And we've got lots of time to work on this, but the goal is to have some ideas before we travel and to begin some initial thought and brainstorming before we travel so that we're not starting from scratch when we arrive. Okay. And then week 3 with medical and adults, we're going to put everyone together in this one. And this is with working with the elderly group. The elderly group used to meet just on Fridays, but since COVID, they decided to, oh no, we're good. Okay. All right. I thought it went away, but it didn't. We're right here. The elderly group used to meet just on Fridays, but with COVID, they broke it up into 2 different groups to have smaller numbers. So they're meeting Wednesdays and Fridays throughout the week. And so we're going to be with them on Wednesday and Friday of week 3. And they asked us, they were having just some, basic, chit chat conversation stuff. And they really noticed that these elderly adults through COVID, isolation, loss, just really hard couple of years that feel like mental health, depression has been a really big and sort of salient topic. And so what they would like us to do is to think of an interactive game to get them talking about the difficulties of COVID, isolation, loss, depression, things like that. And she even gave us a great idea. Take a beach ball, put a bunch of, leading questions on it, and it will get the adults, it'd be around 10 elderly folks at a time, toss the beach ball around the circle with questions, and everyone, answers the question, things like, I don't know, you could think of better questions than I can, but, possibly something like, what was hard about what was the hardest part of the last 2 years of COVID, or you're just getting some leading questions going. And the goal will be, after we get everyone talking, get the conversation going, help them recognize depression, understand in simple terms some ways to alleviate it. And there are some obstacles to getting folks professional help with depression, just stigmas and things like that that exist. So trying to normalize and encourage the use of therapy, antidepressants, things like that within adulto mayor. But basically, what it sounded like with our conversation was that they just noticed some real intense loneliness and some significant loss through COVID. No different really than what some of our older populations here in the US have experienced as well. So that's the topic. And the idea would be, we'll break up into kind of 3 groups and divide up, because there's nine people that week. Break up into 3 groups and just kind of have some different responsibilities for each group. One would be to kind of develop and lead that initial interactive game. Another group to lead or sort of take the lead on discussing, recognizing signs of depression. And then finally, the third group would be to take the lead on discussing treatment for depression, whether that's lifestyle stuff, therapy, meds, etc. And again, this doesn't have to be super deep. It is just very basic conversation around how to improve mental health with simple day-to-day activities and things like that. Okay, Karen, I see your message. Can we address Omicron? Yes. Favorite topic in the world, COVID. We'll get to it. All right, muy bien. So let's go back to our yeah, good question, Kathy. How long do we have with the kids? So we're scheduled for a couple of hours on each day that we're there. So that'll be, like if we had 5 stations of, 20 minutes kind of thing to do an activity, maybe, and after you count for transition time and settling down time and getting the jitters out time, then, you could probably get through 5 20-minute rotations, something along those lines. Okay, great. Any other questions about these topics or the volunteer work that we could chat through real quick?
Rory, in one of the documents I read, it said something about a background check, proof of background check. Do we need that for this activity with children or no?
No,
Okay.
We don't need it. Good question. Yeah. Any other questions?
Real quick, I was just curious, when we're talking about working with the elderly people there, was that for the medical people specifically?
And general, Patrick. So we're all going to be together, and it's okay if okay. you don't have the background to take a lead on it, but be present if you want to. It's a really rewarding experience. These folks are great.
Sure. Well, that's my age group, so
perfect.
I think I could probably relate.
Excellent.
Okay.
Excellent. Yeah.
Rory, a follow-up question to how many children would be having in those couple of hours?
Yeah.
So a total.
Yeah, good question. So it's probably going to be somewhere around in the 10 to 20 range kids. It's
Okay,
not going to be a
thank you.
huge group. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll get more details as we approach and who's committed, because they'll ask people to commit to coming. It won't just be like a random show up thing. So they'll have people sign up to come and that kind of thing. It helps with follow through.
So Roy, I feel very comfortable having that dialogue and interaction in English, but I expect it will be in Spanish, right?
Yes, it will be in Spanish, and you've got lots of support. But that's the that's the goal, is to be able to
Right. Okay.
to stretch and use your language in real life situations and meet some objectives. And again, with these charlas, we don't worry about making mistakes. We focus on communication and connecting. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Other
Rory,
yes.
Will this be the demographic or the population that we're going to be making the charlas in the 5th week with?
In the 5th week, Maura, we're not going to have any charlas in week 5.
Oh, okay.
Because there's just 2 of you in week 5.
Okay. So that video that's for something different, or a different setup, I guess.
That video is is a little dated. Lo siento. Yeah, it doesn't apply to this program for this time. Yeah. Okay. Otras preguntas? All right, let's move on then back to some questions regarding travel logistics. Let's talk money. What's the exchange rate? Anybody know the exchange rate? First of all, the currency is colones. So what is the exchange rate of colones to dollars?
Was it like 504?
It's more now. It's more now.
Oh.
I just checked earlier today, because it's always changing a little bit. It's about it's just north of 600, about 640 is what Google conversion said today. Okay.
That's a lot harder math than the 500.
Oh, it's so much harder math than 500. Yeah. It's especially difficult for people like me who just are terrible at math. Okay. What's the best way to get money?
Well, you said debit card.
ATM.
Debit card, ATM is the best way to get money. What do you have to do if you plan to exchange dollars at a bank? It's a terrible. Yeah, it's a terrible process. It's a terrible process.
Yeah.
You need your passport, like your real passport. You got to spend at least a half hour waiting in line, and it's just so much better to take an ATM, a debit card, and be able to access money from the ATM. Okay, great. All right, how to carry money? What are we doing as far as how much, that kind of thing? What's your what's a good recommendation there?
On that subject, when we talk about carrying money, is it prevalent down there to have pickpockets and that type of thing? Or is that kind of an unusual thing?
The pickpocket is unusual, like actively taking it off of your person, unless you're in a very large crowded space, like a downtown market or something, and it's everyone's shoulder to shoulder. It can happen there. And in fact, we'll suggest that when we're in a place like that, that you take your backpack and flip it around front, and you don't have your wallet in that top zipper section of your backpack, that kind of thing, because we have had people walk through a market area and go to take their backpack off, and lo and behold, their wallet's no longer in that top easy accessible spot. But I typically will take my wallet in a crowded place and just put it in my front pocket, and carry it around that way, because I'm a little more sensitive up front than in the back. It's easier for someone to get it out of the back pocket. But All right, so carry money in a place that's not easy to get to as you're walking around. But the actual pickpocket stuff isn't that common in just, you know, our regular scenario walking around Santo Domingo de Heredia. But you don't want to be out flashing money and having lots of wads of bills in your hands and things like that. You want to take your time at the ATM, get your money situated before you turn around and leave and go walk off, you know, that kind of thing. All right. Recommended amounts to start off with, recommended amounts to have on hand. Any ideas?
$500.
So that's so if you have $500 worth of money somewhere stowed away, if you get it out of the ATM that way, you know, Patrick, over your 3 weeks, you could probably go through that amount of cash on stuff. You wouldn't need to go through that much. I typically will carry around, you know, at the most $50 to $100 worth of cash at any one time, just in case I lose it, and I won't be too sad about it. All right. And what do we need to do ahead of time in order to use your card?
Call your card company and warn them.
Yeah, let them know you're traveling. And also make sure you know if there's any sort of international fees or anything like that that you can expect for transactions with your card, because your bank may have some of those and you just want to be aware of them if they do. Okay. All right. So travel insurance. If you have any more questions about money stuff, go ahead and just drop them in the chat area. I've got my eye on it. Travel insurance. We will be, as soon as we've got everyone's registration forms, which gives us all the details we need in order to submit for travel insurance, then we will get those issued, and you'll receive your travel insurance via email. And so you'll get your policy. It'll come from a company called iNext, and you're going to need to upload that policy in order to get your Costa Rica Health Pass. So this is one of the entry requirements for getting into Costa Rica. There's no, it's basically a symptoms questionnaire, but they also want to make sure that you have you have your travel insurance as well. So they'll ask you to attach that, upload it to your submission for your Health Pass. And your Health Pass is going to produce a QR code for you on your phone that you'll show as you go through customs and immigration. Okay. So Kate asked the question, last time she traveled, had a card with a lot of fees. Yes, I have a suggestion. I don't know about other banks, but Kate, I opened a Schwab account specifically for this reason. And Charles Schwab, Emily, you've got one too. So Charles Schwab will refund all of your ATM fees, whether that's international, local, whatever. So you'll never be on the hook for international or any ATM fees. If you have a investment account with Charles Schwab, it will automatically create a checking account for you, and then they send you that debit card. It's wonderful. So you could do the whole process you do online. You could do it tonight and have your card within a week or so. It's really fast. So Charles Schwab's great. Any other banks that you guys are aware of that you can use ATMs transaction fee free?
I think Morgan Stanley, I know you don't have fees on international travel.
Okay. All right, Morgan. So sounds like we're leaning more toward investments, investment houses than actual banks. Bank of America, is that right, Megan? Okay. All right. Awesome. All right. U.S. Bank
Barclays has a
brutal
card
with fees, and we bank with U.S. Bank apart from our Schwab stuff, and they are brutal. Catherine, what were you saying?
Oh, Barclays Arrival card is an international card.
Ah, okay, great. And now, is that a debit card or a credit card?
No, it's a credit card.
Okay. So the only thing with getting cash with a credit card is that oftentimes a credit card company will consider it a cash advance, and you'll incur interest on it right away until you pay off your balance. So if you have access to a debit card, you sort of limit some risks there. You will, Tommy, Capitan, you will receive your policy via email from iNext, okay? All right. We have solidified our itinerary for the trip, and here is the link to our itinerary. This is a living document. It's always a living document. Things are going to change. But if you can get Google Docs on your phone, that's a great idea because things will update on a daily basis. We'll be updating you. Here's what we've got going on tomorrow. But I would recommend, not printing this off today and expecting it to be exactly the same when we arrive on the 29th. Okay. So keep bookmark this, get it on your Google Docs app on your phone. And this will be something that Leslie and I and Stephanie and Vanessa, something that we're updating as situations evolve and change. That's what we'll be making all of our changes right here on this document. Okay. This document, Amy, I just dropped it in the chat area. That's it right there. That's the link to it. Okay. So in the pre-departure course, this link is also live on the sidebar of the pre-departure course. You can see this document. Okay. All right. So that's our itinerary. It gives you a pretty good idea of what we've got going on day to day, the times that we're doing things. And this right column gives you any particular notes. So vestimenta gives you an idea of what kind of clothing you need, whether you need like professional dress or casual dress, and what you need to have with you in your backpack or your satchel or sling or whatever it is you're going to travel with. Okay. All right. So here's the link right here within this document from tonight to get off to the itinerary. Okay, it's time for the increasingly shameful lista de delincuentes. I'm so sorry if your name is on this list. It is just so incredibly embarrassing, but pretty much everybody's on this list. So at least there's some solidarity, and misery does love company. Okay, this was updated as of like 3 or 4 o'clock today, right before we went off to a handful of basketball games for our girls. Okay, so if you've done something this afternoon and it's not accounted for here, then that's why. It's because it's not up to the minute. Okay, so travel registration, Maya, we need your travel registration to get. And so travel registration is really important for us for 2 things. 1, our insurance, and 2, for host family placements. So that's good info there. So please let's get our travel registrations done. Travel contract and paperwork. I've got a handful of folks that as of this afternoon, looking at it, we think we're missing from Dee, Madison, Maya, Emily, Megan, Isabel, and Kate. And then final payments, a couple balances out there still to take care of. Isabel, you may have settled that up today. I just haven't had a chance to look at all the docs. Flight itinerary. Okay, so we definitely need your flight itinerary so that we can get it to your host family. We have the actual confirmation, not just a summary of it, please. With the actual confirmation, just forward us your flight itinerary confirmation so that there's no typos with flight numbers and dates and times and all that kind of stuff, so that we can see that. So we need that. Please send it in so that we can get your host family squared away. A copy of your passport. You would not believe how many situations we get in where I'm pulling up the copy of your passport on my phone so that we can do something together. So please send that in. I have it. We'll keep it in a folder and I'll be able to access it on my phone so that should this situation arise, then we're there, we've got it, and you can do fun stuff. Okay. And your code back. Yes, Patrick.
I'm sorry. I do have a question because some of these things I had filled out and submitted when I was scheduled for the last trip
for the summer. Yeah, and I did find a couple of things of yours, Patrick. So we'll go ahead and I'll do a double check for your stuff. I think we moved your folder right over to this program, but I'll do a triple check.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm thinking some of that may be dated now. I don't know.
Okay, we'll
what.
take a look. Yeah, we'll take a
Okay,
look.
thanks.
All
Okay.
right. So vaccination cards. This is something that we're going to need to be able to produce your vaccination card as we enter certain establishments, because the way the mandates laws are written currently in Costa Rica, certain businesses are only going to accept you if you have proof of vaccination. That's how they can maintain their 100% occupancy rates that they want to have. And so if you could just send in a copy of your vaccination card, we'll do the same thing and keep it accessible should we need it. Okay. All right. And should you email the passport and vaccine? Yes, please just email a copy of them if you're okay with that. That would be perfect. Okay.
Okay, Rory.
Yes.
One other thing
Yeah, Pat.
about vaccination card and the passport.
Yeah.
Do we need to carry the physical card and the passport, or just a photo in our phone?
I'm going to have both. And the short answer, Pat, is I'm not 100% sure about certain establishments, but we'll figure that out soon. And
Okay.
my hunch is that on our phone, we're going to be just fine with that, because really, an establishment, it really just needs an excuse to let you in, basically. And so I don't think they're going to be that stickler about it. But let's have definitely travel with your real copy of your vaccination card. But for most things, my hunch is that our phone's going to be fine, but that's still TBD. Okay. And the placement test, there's a link right here to the immersion placement test. Now, if you've done some classes with Common Ground in the past, you may have done a different placement test. This one's pretty in-depth. It's a little bit painful, lo siento, but it is I'm seeing some agreement. Okay, all right. But this is super important for us getting a clear picture of what class you're going to land in and how many teachers we need to get committed to the weeks that you're there with us. And so please do this ASAP. In fact, if you could do it by this Friday, that would be awesome. Okay, so please take care of your placement test before the end of the day on Friday. Okay, and perfect. That's la lista de delincuentes. Emily says, take more than 30 minutes, allow more than 30 minutes for the placement test. All right, perfect. Karen had a lot of technical problems, and okay, all right. So yeah, give yourself some time. There is a save and continue later feature on that test, but it sends you a link to your email.
It doesn't always work.
It doesn't, well, and it may end up in your spam
It
or
deleted
junk or
it.
something like that.
Yeah.
And if you don't have access to that specific link, I can't get you the saved version of it either. You just have to redo it. So it's best, as Emily's suggesting, is to carve out some time, go through it, and do your best on it, because that will give us our clearest picture of what the best class is for you. And to give you my perspective on your class placement, we want you to be in a class that matches what you know academically. Not what you can write perfectly or have accents excellent, but what you know academically, we're going to be in your class on that placement test. And usually what people know academically is a little bit ahead of their speaking ability, or a lot ahead of their speaking ability. And but if we place you based on your speaking ability, then you'll feel like you're not being challenged enough. And so that's why we do it written. That's why we want that, so we can place you based on what you know, what you've learned in the past, that kind of thing. Okay. All right. We've got a lista final de optional excursions. There's still time if you feel like you want to add something that you forgot about or whatever. So Cafe Brett, this is that first Sunday where we're going to go do some coffee tasting and learn about coffee and the history of coffee. So here we go for Cafe Brett. Cebu chocolate, that's that first Friday, which is an amazing chocolate tasting and history lesson about chocolate. In week 1 also, looks like there's a handful of us that are going to go up to a local volcano and walk in, take a look and see, hopefully have clear, no clouds, and be able to look into the crater and see the volcanic crater and the little fumaroles, the steam vents and everything coming out of the volcano. It's a pretty neat morning. So POAS trip is that first week of the program. It is maybe, I forget the day, Wednesday maybe, or something like that. I'm not sure. Manuel Antonio is the first weekend that we have after our first week of classes. It's the beach. Here's who we've got signed up for Manuel Antonio. Again, there's still time to get signed up if you want to join us on the beach. Pat's going to do some surfing on the beach. That's an optional thing. If you want to surf on the beach, go ahead and sign up and we'll get you going with some surfing lessons and have some fun there at Manuel Antonio. We've got a group headed off to La Fortuna at the end of week 2. This is a super fun, adventurous place. Hot springs, thermal pools, and volcano, and there is an optional zip line tour there, which is great. You ride this gondola up and you zip down the mountain. It's not something that everyone wants to do because it is fast and high, so we've got Kathy so far signed up for the zip line. Kathy, I'll be joining you on that because it's so much fun. So if you're headed to La Fortuna, consider that zip line add on there. It's a lot of fun. Okay. All right. So Nicole, in Manuel Antonio, I have heard of a zip line tour in Manuel Antonio. I've never been to it. But it's something that we can help you research if that's the only weekend that you're around for. Okay. All right. Great. Excellent. Próximos pasos. Let's make sure that we get a volunteer project, get some ideas going for your volunteer project by next Wednesday. That'll give us a good full week almost to be collaborating and doing some things as a group before our final meeting on the following Tuesday. Complete your placement test by Friday if you haven't already, please. Submit all your paperwork, flight, COVID, all that stuff as soon as possible. If we have any yes.
Oh, right. I'm so sorry. The sign up for your volunteer project and connect with your partner by next Wednesday. I missed that.
Yeah, so the project is right here, and so we're asking people to sort of think of what topic interests them, right? To associate yourself with the topic, and then reach out. So Kelsey, thank you. You've added some contact information here. If your name's on there and you didn't add some contact info, please add your contact info so that you guys can get a little email string going together with each other and begin discussing some ideas. That's what that's
okay.
all about.
Well, I'll follow up a little later. I'm still a little confused. Okay.
All right.
No problem.
We could talk after the meeting.
Yeah, that's fine.
And sort that out. Okay. So submit your final payments as soon as possible. Complete the pre-departure course. We did get our volunteer lesson updated. So that's done. Everything's pretty much done except for the host family, which will be hopefully getting you defined with who your family is here toward the end of this week and early next week. Our next meeting is Tuesday, January 25th, same time, same link. We'll send you a reminder email. Okay. Preguntas. Let me see here. Yes.
Sorry real quick. I didn't mean to skip the line. Where will this recording be uploaded?
It'll be uploaded to your pre-departure course in the sidebar of your pre-departure course. That's where the first one is uploaded as well. Don't know if you've seen it, but it's there in the sidebar of your pre-departure course.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Let me see. We've got some questions here in the chat. Okay, links to some of this optional stuff. Let me just drop a link to
I could find a link to everything but POAS.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's why I didn't sign up for it. So I could find everything else, but I couldn't find a link to the POAS trip.
All right, let me see what's going on here with this.
Oh, and somebody says same, so I'm not the only idiot.
Karen, I just went back to the email and then clicked on POAS and then it populated into my cart.
It's in an email. It's not in the pre-departure course.
Let me see here. Let me see if we can get you the POAS.
Thank you. Oh,
link
oh, it's
here.
over there.
Here is a link where everything is listed. I'm going to go ahead and drop.
commonground.com.trips. Okay.
Yeah, it's in the chat area now.
Okay, thank you.
There you go. So you can follow that, and POAS should be in here. Here we go. POAS right here. So here's POAS specifically. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and take.
Okay,
this,
but got it.
I'm going to take this link and drop it in our document. My bad on that. Optional excursions link. Here we go. All right. So now you can follow this link to get off there. Okay.
Perfect. I'll be wanting some hiking if I'm out of Colorado for a week. So
yeah, sweet. Okay, great. Any other questions? Drop them in the chat area or unmute. I'll be glad to take them. You guys are so patient with me. I talk too much. Windbag Rory 813.
Can you touch on Omicron? I mean, it just seems like it's exploding. Do we just proceed like fingers crossed? Espera.
Yeah. So Costa Rica is in an uptick, just like everywhere right now with Omicron, but you know, everything continues to be open, and we are happy to travel with our regular mitigation strategies. You can expect that we'll be masking up indoors, we'll be doing the distancing, all that kind of stuff. You know, I could be ignorant or not as informed as someone else, but everything that it seems like Omicron just is super contagious, but not that serious. But you know, I could be wrong, but I think people are looking at it different than they were Delta and all of that. Yeah.
And just one quick reminder, I know you told us this last week, my brain's small right now. We can just do a rapid test and have a picture. Is that correct? Or do we have to go somewhere official?
No, just for as far as testing goes, and a clarification on that, Karen, that is not for your airline, and Costa Rica isn't going to request that. Common Ground is requesting that. It's something that our teachers and our host families feel really good about. And so thank you for doing that and submitting your negative test within 72 hours of flying.
Yeah. And my job requires stuff like this all the time.
Yeah.
I respect it.
So I'm sorry. Does that mean that the home test is acceptable?
Yeah, just have a witness, Patrick, say that, yes, this is Pat's test. You just have a witness sign it. Yeah, that's fine. Yep, we trust you. We just want to make sure that, you know, people feel good about receiving you into their classroom, into their home, that kind of thing. Yeah.
So is that in lieu of getting a vaccination and booster? Is that what was being discussed?
No, it's not in lieu. It's in addition to. So you need your vaccinations and you need your vaccination. If you got your booster, great, not a requirement, but if you got it, awesome. But we also want you to present a negative test 72 hours before you fly.
So the negative test that we're presenting isn't to get on the plane. It's for you guys, right?
That's right. That's right.
Can we do do a home test?
Yes, Capitan. Yep.
Okay.
But have
and
a witness
as I
sign
understand it,
have your deckhand sign it, Capitan.
we're off season. I'm in Washington, D.C. It's cold up here.
All right.
Are there any airlines requiring this as well? I mean, I know I should just do my research.
Not that I'm aware of.
No, I haven't heard anything like this. As a matter of fact, I didn't see it in any of the materials, so I was a little surprised. But okay, we'll do.
Okay. Rory, I have a question on this volunteer Google Docs.
Okay.
How do I access it after we're not live in this group? Will it just populate in my own Google Docs file on my computer?
Yeah, if you just go to Google Docs, it should show up as a recently viewed Google Doc for you, Kathy.
Okay.
You
right,
can you can
thanks.
save it too, or just like put a little star there or something so that it's easy to get back to as well. Yeah, you can bookmark it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks.
What
Rory, we have to sign up for the Google Doc.
Yeah, Pat, that's this one here, and I'll drop the link into the chat area again. And I think what I'll do is I'm going to send a summary email with all the links that we've referred to tonight,
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
so that you can
Thank
access it easily.
Yeah.
There was another question.
It was the same question. Somebody
Okay.
else asked it.
Okay. All right.
There's one in the chat, Rory, that Emily asked.
Oh, let's see. Return to the
Oh,
U.S.
no, sorry,
negative test
that-
required. Yes.
No,
Thanks,
one before,
Vanessa.
the one that Kate, yeah,
Oh,
about the host families.
oh yeah, host families. All right, great. So starting first with Kate's question about host families and colleagues, if they're fully vaxxed and boosted. So some are, some aren't. We're not guaranteed anything. The whole vaccination situation is different in Costa Rica. The government tells you if you're eligible or not. And there's been pretty good participation with vaccination, but not everyone has been eligible for it. And so we're not requiring host families to be vaccinated because we simply can't make that requirement. It's not 100% up to an individual. We're at the place in the States where if you're not vaccinated, it's because you definitely don't want to be. But it's just totally different. There are based on the rollout and access to the vaccine, it's just not the same. So we're not requiring it of our host families, but a very high percentage of people are vaccinated. The folks that may not be, just based on numbers and accessibility, are some of the younger kids may not be vaccinated just because it hasn't been made available to that lower risk age group yet. And so let's see. Return to the US, Emily. Yes. In fact, in December, the rules changed that everyone, regardless of vaccination status, needs to have a negative test within 24 hours of your departure flight. And so it used to be 3 days, 72 hours in order to get back into the US, but December 6th or something like that, that changed. And so now we have to have that negative test to get back on to your return flight within 1 day of returning. So we've got testing sites in town. We'll help you do it. We'll get you scheduled and all of that. But it's a tighter window now, and you'll get your results same day. It's an rapid test. So Kate, yes, confirmation that some people in your host family may not be vaccinated. If that's something that we need to, I do think we have some flexibility to place people in families that definitely 100% are vaccinated. If that's high on your priority list, let me know by email, and we'll make sure that with our host family placement, we'll do our best to accommodate that. Yeah, based on accessibility, we can't require it of families. Okay. Let's see, CEs for the course. How do we do that? And how many CEs per week? Laura, great question. So nursing CEs, you are eligible for 20 per week nursing CEs. And so you can do that. There is within that link to the trip stuff, there's a link there to go ahead and purchase those credits. Okay. All right, great. Other questions? Same for you, Kate. Yep, CME. Yep.
Yeah, Rory, I would have typed this in. I just don't know how to do it. Can we take things like sunblock and hand cream onto the plane with us?
3 ounces onto the plane.
Confiscated?
You can check it in however much you want. You can check in gallons of sunblock, but in your carry-on, it's only 3 ounces. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, as long as it gets checked in.
I suggest doing that too, because sunblock is one of the most frustrating things to buy in Costa Rica. It's super expensive and it's not the one you're looking for. So just take what you've got from home.
Yeah, and insect repellent too, like from mosquitoes.
That's right.
Like
yeah, take that too. Now it is dry season, so we're good in general on mosquitoes, but you know, down at the lower elevations of the beach, you'll want to have some insect repellent for being out after dark. All right, Isabel. Yeah, you guys, you're welcome to log off if you need to move on to things or simply go to bed. But I'll stay on and answer any questions others have. Okay.